Hey guys, for this assignment, you are going to take your initials and create a textile design using your initials and perhaps some color and stuff in the background. So first you're going to go to the designer.gravit.io, Gravit Design. Then you're going to bring up, now this always comes up, I guess you guys already know that. You cannot install it on your Chromebook, so just X that out. Now we're going to make a new design. You can do it up here, as I've told you before, but change it to inches. But the easiest way to do it is to come right here, click on US letter. It can either be portrait or landscape. It's up to you. Just click on one of those. And then start. So you're going to take your initials. So get on the type tool, come down here and click. What are your initials? Do them one at a time. I'm going to, mine are S. And I'm going to click away and come back up here again because I'm now going to do an L. Click away, come up here, and I'm going to do it M. M. Now you could play with these. These can be any, well, you want them bigger, so I'm definitely going to put 100. Make it 100. I'll make them all 100. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is make them bigger. A 100. Oops. Enter. So now I have my 3 initials. I can also change the font style. I don't have to keep them what they were, which was Open Sans. I could change them to something else. Play around with this. I want you to make a couple of these until you can really decide what you want. They can all be the same or they can all be different. Really play around with these. Nope, I don't want that, that's for sure. Oops. Are really different. I don't think I want that one either. And you don't know because you are playing. You don't know for sure what you want, but you might want to do them all the same. But now you're going to take those 3 initials you've got here, and you're going to put them together in some interesting fashion. You do want to join them. But how you want to join them is going to be the hard part. So you're really going to have to play until you get some interesting shape. And like I said, you're going to have to play with what you want, with the font that you want. Maybe you want one to be capitalized, one not to be capitalized. It really depends on your font. Let's see, that was Orient. I'm going to try all of these to be Orient. Where did that go? Orienta is the name of that. Orienta. Make them all Orienta. So I'm going to take my picture off here so you can see everything. All right, so and then you can play with them and just decide how you want to put them together. You can rotate them. You can flip them. You're just looking for something interesting. I'm thinking that L, maybe that L should be a lowercase. I'll highlight that and make it a lowercase L. Do I like that? Oh. Rotate it. Oh, I don't. I don't know, maybe it should be uppercase. I think that's the hardest part, is you just got to figure out what you want these to look like. And you don't know until you get in there and you start playing. You're looking for something really interesting, just like the examples that are in that PowerPoint. I did not do those in the PowerPoint. I have borrowed that PowerPoint from another teacher. Actually, she's from a different state. And I think she borrowed them from somebody else. So it's a PowerPoint that's been around and been used by several teachers. Maybe you don't like your initials and you want to use somebody else's initials. That's fine too. 3 letters are what. Now, remember when this comes up? Always say yes and call it something. So I'm going to say initials. You don't lose it. Okay, so there it is. I don't know how I want this to look, but I'm going to play with it. I get something I like. You can overlap them. Okay, now I'm thinking of something. Use the arrows on your keyboard for little movements. There, that might be it. Let me see, I want the M to come up higher. I'm really trying to make those look like they belong together. So maybe I have something like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, once I get them together where they're interesting to me, I'm going to group them. Now, remember you can group under Modify, Group Selection. The shortcut is right here. There's a little group selection. You could see where it says group selection and see what it looks like, that little symbol. Well, it's right here too, so you could just do that. And now that's grouped. So now I have that grouped together. Now I'm going to duplicate it. So the quickest way to duplicate is Command or Control on your keyboard. I think it's Control on your keyboard. Control D. That duplicates it. So now I've got 2 of them. So now what I want to do is I want to make it look like a textile design. So so that's a lot of repeating. I could put it together like this. I might mirror image it. That might look better. And up here, instead of going to the modify, down to transform and flip, there's the shortcuts right up here. So I'm going to flip it horizontally. And then I'm going to put that together. And let's see, I'm going to bring that together where, there, look at that. That's pretty cool. So now I'm going to group that. So I like what I've got there. So I'm going to group that. Now I'm going to take that and duplicate it. So duplicate. So now I have that. And now I'm thinking what I want to do is to put it right there and then flip it vertically and then bring it up here. And I'm going to take it to where that's right on there. Do you see how I'm just little by little putting it together? And there. Now I'm going to group that. So watch what I do. I'm going to take that. I'm going to group that. And then I'm going to duplicate that. And I'm going to inch that just little by little. try to get it on there. That's the hard part, just getting it lined up just right. Let's see. I'm using the arrows on my keyboard because it moves just a itty bitty bit. And there. Now, I'm going to group all of that. So I'm going to group that, and then I'm going to inch it all the way up to the top here. And then I'm going to duplicate that. All right, let me put it up here. Looks like it's gonna, I'm gonna put it right on the edge. I'm gonna make them touch. I do want them to touch. I like that. So now I'm gonna take all of that again and group all of that. And then I'm gonna duplicate it again. And then I'm gonna put this one, I'm gonna take it right here. So do you see how I'm making this pattern and I'm putting it all together and I just keep duplicating. And then I'm going to have what looks like a textile design. My problem is I want this to come down here too, and my paper's not big enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all this together. I'm going to group all of that. Group all of that. And now I'm going to take this corner here and I'm going to make it all smaller. Now, when I did that, do you see what happened? This bottom part is not lining up. It's got a little speck here. And I don't know why that happened, but I see that it happened. But I'm going to go with it because it's pretty perfect. I like it. So I've got all of that, and now I'm going to duplicate that. And then I'm going to take that duplicated one and bring it down here and line that up just right. And do you see how this one left that little space right there? I'm going to do the same thing between these two, so at least it's just like it. So I'm just going to look at it and try to get that same, line it up there. There. Oh, see, I like that. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to play with it. And then you're really wanting this interesting, I want to say negative space. So the positive would be the black where the letters are themselves. And my negative space is the white space. And it's real, I really like that, what I've done there. And it's just from me playing. Now, the top part, I've got a little space here, and the bottom part, it's hanging off. So I'm going to do this one more time. I'm going to take all of this and group all of that and then move it up. So that it's even on the top and the bottom. That's real important for visual effects here. That it's even all the way around. So try to make yours even. The more even it is, the better it just looks. It appears. It's more pleasing to look at. Now, I want to put a color somewhere in here, and I'm going to decide where I want that color. And this is where you want to, and I think the best way to do this is, okay, I've got this grouped. It's all on one layer. I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to make a new layer, And I want that layer to actually be underneath these. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to color some spots. And I'm thinking what I want to do, and it's up to you. The easiest thing to do might be just to make some shapes, but I'm thinking I want color right inside of here, of this area right in here, and not anywhere, just in there. And it's going to be the same all the way around, but just in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and you remember, it's got to be a closed shape to fill it with a color. So I'm thinking I want to do this with my pen tool. Now, before I start doing this, I want to take that grouped layer that I have here, and I want to lock that layer. So I'm going to come over here and lock it. If I don't lock it, what'll happen is it'll start moving on me once I start messing with the pen tool. So I'm going to lock that layer. Now I'm going to make sure that I'm on this new layer that I've just created. So make sure that's highlighted. And now I'm going to come to the pen tool, and I'm going to follow where I want the color to be. Remember I said I want to make it inside of here. Now what's going to be nice about this is once I've got it, I can just duplicate it and put it everywhere where I want it, but I just want it in that shape. Let me zoom in for you so you can really see what I'm doing here. So I'm following this area in here, and it doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be underneath. Come along here, so I'm just following this area right here. And I just want it to be inside this space right there. You'll see as I do this and I get done. And you got to close it. This is where you got to come where you started, and you got to close it. And the reason you have to close it is so that you can fill it with the color. And now I can also look at it. So I'm going to come up here and get on my sub-select tool so that I can mess with these anchor points, because I'm afraid I might have some open spaces here. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got that all the way around, and it's not going to be open or come out. There we go. So I'm looking at that. I'm think that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to come back up here and get on my pointer so that I've selected it. And now I'm going to fill it with a color. I think I'm going to choose a blue. Yep. So I've colored it. So there, that's what I want. Now, what I'm going to do now, let me zoom out for you. Oops. Zoom out so you can see it. I zoomed out too much. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that shape. I'm going to duplicate it. So Control D, and I'm going to move it to where it's on all of those. Duplicate, duplicate. Oh, and look at it, and it duplicate. So now I'm going to take, remember, now I've locked the path with the letters. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over these 4 shapes, and I'm going to go ahead and group those just so it'll be easier. And now I'm going to duplicate those. So I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to move my duplication down here. Oh, they didn't stay grouped. They did not stay grouped. So let me come here and see if I can duplicate it. Oh, now it did. Look at that. That is not what I wanted to do. See, it deleted. That is not what I wanted to do. I'm going to delete that. Oops. Edit. Undo. 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 Undo is your friend. Now, okay. So that's funny. It is really not doing what I wanted it to. Let me try this again. Let me undo, because it did not do what I wanted it to. Well, anyway, I'm trying to duplicate this, and I'm trying to get it in there, lined in there just right. And I keep duplicating it. And I'm going to come up here and I'm going to ungroup it, modify ungroup selection, because I just want to duplicate that. And take that there, duplicate, and duplicate. And there is my textile design. So this is what I want you to do, and I would like you to do a few of them. Do several. Um, give yourself 2 or 3. Let's say 3. I'm gonna say I want 3 of them, because you could see how quick that was. It's going to be a little while because you guys have to really work with it. But give me 3 different textile designs using your initials.